Fast forward, you come over channel social and some say how say GH Politics Avenue. Political stories are turning because big headlines. And a general need to be exmo, need him young Braximo, Mr. say, Yumbo in Ryan Simo. But Ansana, no Mr. say, Ubitum subscribe to the channel. So, oh, Abutin Kunum that answer, Yadasi, so also what me, Ajimre, or Hanyamisha, on Ton Super Ingu, on your muscle, said Debia Obinya, a Aquiniano, now also what me about the Traxi, Omo Amhodia and Quan, Braxi, said, why inside it, among Yamin shall be brave. Now, how comes in actually CCA, me no say investigations so I wanna say Dintia we need to meet so polling station or any polling agents no ekokasa e couldn't come up. Abra one when you voter two once when you do easy inti a day na ma ho kwan tumi be na wo na ma wotimi ebowura polling station kwa impo woni yisi fo no adwuma ya fo ni bi unsa eda wo mko ma mudi inkomo nsembe na moka we ni free hon so pepper spray wotimi eyiye spray egu voters ni bi so anase NDC fo ni bi so omohwe ama aboto no atimi aba asumbi no eno enso investigations so se ntasa no ebo mame a ene kian na se obetimi emrano ibitimi eno edi when some hodo so abide for attraction no ka say e be wuro mu asoye ne ahwe ne ko ani de ba she no so mami say how say EGH Politics Avenue.
Dr. Norman Hawakumsin came to Ablekuma as a vigilante.
How? What do you mean?
But if you enter a polling station in Ablekuma during elections with a pepper spray in your back, who are you? Are you not a vigilante? That's a weapon. Check the definition of weapon. Pepper spray is part.
And so why did the police not detect it?
So these are the perspectives we are bringing to bear.
Issues that you talk about.
No, look, she came as a vigilante. Even her actions constitute provocation in the law. Read Act 29 and look at the provisions on provocation, which is some defense in law. If you provoke people and they act in other results in the commission of a crime,
provocation. It reduces murder.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Provocation.
So it's a slippery path.
So yes, you provoke people.
But then again,
you are not supposed to enter. That's what I'm saying. Then where an area is in the law in CI 127, polling stations are designated and gazetted. So when an area is designated as a polling station, you don't enter such an area with a weapon, whether concealed or not. You don't. Otherwise, you are a vigilante. You ought to be treated as a vigilante. And I'm not surprised that they treated her as one.
But you get the point, like Martin, people was trying to draw you in.
Martin is being diplomatic this morning.
But I don't
and
think
she's a mother. She's a mother. She's a mother. I sympathize with the physicality visited upon her. But we must also criticize her conduct. As a former minister of state, high-ranking minister of state, cabinet minister, you saw how we all commending Brian Champong. We saw him, a former minister in charge of national security. But he went there with his hand at his back. Yes. You can still go there and do things, verbally.
After his editorial service,
yes,
they will not.
You don't need
top officials when
you don't need to comported. Yes, you don't need to go there with a weapon concealed in your back. And then when there's some altercation, you bring up the weapon and you begin to unleash the weapon on the people. They'll react. You provoke them. So let's tackle her conduct. Let's separate the personality from her conduct, which attracted the violence. It's very important. Well, and it should be a guide to all of us.
There was a statement that was issued by the minority in parliament, which then captured some detail of...
I've read it, so let me tackle it. Let me tackle that statement.
I'm going to do that in 2 minutes because certain persons were mentioned in that statement.
So let me tackle that statement.
I received a statement earlier from Mustafa Agbandeo's Deputy General Secretary of the NDC about that statement because his name was mentioned in there as well. Apparently, wasn't the case, as was captured by that statement issued by Alexander Apenyomakin. And he's indicated that he was actually nowhere near the incident. That's number one. And he was the one who took our Kumsin to the hospital. That's Mustafa Agbande, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, after the incident happened. Is that consistent with what you have?
That is so. You see, if you read section 51, if you read section, he took Hawa. Yes, in his vehicle. He and Yamin. You know, yes. You know, if you read section 51(1) of the Police Service Act, 19 Act
allow us to commend them. Won't you allow us to commend them?
Hold on. Act 350, 1970. It's the duty of the police to prevent and detect crime. So, in the course of doing all this, they deploy a lot of accoutrements and intelligence to do that. In 2019, we were told by this UOP Amakwe that they are procured about 3,000 body cams so that policemen on such duties can cover events contemporaneously as they occur.
So
why are we not wearing body cams? This our Kumsin team would have looked at it with this evidence playing up. And two, you, the minority leader, you yourself, you were not there. Based on hearsay, they issue a statement and down my Deputy General Secretary. Most unacceptable.
Absolutely.
Most unacceptable, because you see, my Deputy General Secretary was actually called in. Mustafa Agbande was actually called by his colleague on the other side. That, oh, Mustafa, this was what was happening. And he rather rushed in and assisted to take the honorable.
He's indicated in the statement that it was Brian Champong who called.
No, it wasn't Brian, it was another person.
Who?
It was Samia Uku. It was Samia Uku who called.
Yeah.
He called him. And he rushed, and he and Yamin, they took the woman to the hospital in their own vehicle, whilst other persons were being attended to. So, if you write to commend him for his efforts, you don't damn him.
Okay.
You don't run him under the bus.
Right.
All right? So, what the Honorable Minority Leader did, the Honorable Afejomakin said about the Honorable Mustafa Agbande was totally false. It was clearly intended to cause him public disaffection. Mustafa didn't do that. Mustafa actually was the one who came there, took the lady out of the clutches of the people and took her to the nearest health center for some medical attention. So, please, he didn't play any role in visiting the mayhem that was occasioned upon her, the physicality. He rather assisted to take her out of the chaotic situation.
The full complement of that statement he has to leave us. So let me just, he has to leave us. But also indicates that I've got information that the police is investigating this particular incident of our Kumsin and other related matters. And within the shortest period, there's going to be a statement and a briefing on it as well. So
the police officer is Alex, DCOP Alex, what's the name?
We're recording him.
Yes. Amponse Siama. Yes.
Just a brief one on this violence situation, because this is one that we were with you in the studio yesterday when it was all playing out before our eyes. The most important issue here is dealing with this so as to serve as a deterrent to anybody who is thinking about perpetuating this or repeating this action next time, and then also ensuring that we consolidate our security strategy in elections going forward. That's a quick one.
Yes.
You know, the experts have spoken about the security issues when it comes to our elections, and I'm not going to disagree with them. We need to tackle this thing very effectively and strongly to send the right signals to people that we won't tolerate this going forward. A lot has been said. We saw the incidents of our Ayawasu West Wobon. That was nasty. There was a commission set up to investigate that. We haven't seen action taken. It emboldened others to continue doing the same. And I believe yesterday's one was also very, very unnecessary, uncalled for. Even in the midst of circumstances or what we saw you should have exercise restraint as people and allow the law enforcement agencies to work. I think what we lacked yesterday was the law enforcers not having confidence to confront the issues. And I think it's because they themselves are not empowered to do what they're supposed to be doing. Once we prosecute people who do this, I think the police will be empowered to take actions anytime they arise. I don't want to belabor on this point, but I think we have to stop this going forward.
Indeed, and that's just complemented the point that many have been making. That we're going to go into the other aspects, which I'll dwell on you more. But Prof, just a quick one.
I just wanted to make the point that I think one of the factors that de-escalated or prevented the violence and some of these unacceptable things from going on had to do with the posturing of the top NDC officers who also went to the venue. During the Ayawaso West Wogon incident, you didn't have party of officers going there and then talking. But I heard Eduji Tamakulu, and I heard the General Secretary, Fifi Kwiti, when they were interviewed, the kinds of things that they said. We are in power. It is our responsibility to make sure that there is calm and there is peace and there shouldn't be violence. And so we are going to, Omane Boama also went there and he said that this one, yes, interior, they were all there and then they were all calming down tension, not rationalizing, not justifying anything, but saying that they are in power and they have the responsibility to make sure that things are peaceful. I think that this posturing sent a certain message to even those who wanted to take the laws into their own hands. Right. And it's important that leaders get responsible when they are confronted with situations like this. Elsewhere or in other places, you would have leaders coming out to rather fun or fuel whatever may be going on. And so I commend them, because when I heard them speak, I said, well, this is a display of statesmanship, and it's something that we must all, commend. Okay, they were not saying that, look, our support base, you were beaten during Ayawaso West Wogon by elections. You were some of you got killed in previous elections, and so this is your time. They didn't say that, but they were calming down tensions, saying that it's not a do or die battle, and that it's important that they behave in a civil manner so that the processes will be over. I think it's something that is worth commending.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, the second phase of this conversation is about the outcome of this election. And Mr. Dankwa, prior to yesterday, the NPP as a political party took the decision to boycott the elections. Just 24 hours before the elections, the candidate, Naneke Free, after she lost that attempt, or she failed at the attempt to injunct the election yesterday, decided that, look, I'll defy the party's orders and I will contest this election. Went around campaigning door-to-door, submarine, and others, as she indicated. How did that decision strike you? I mean, going to this election yesterday, just a quick one.
No, I was surprised that the decision was taken and then the candidate defied that decision. It shows a party that probably is in a weak position than we've known them to be, because a national party or national executive should not take decision and then a candidate not following. What that did is to tell us that there is a bit of division still in MPP, and then the top is not necessarily the voice of the bottom. But it didn't help them in the situation. It showed lack of unity, lack of direction, and also probably dampened some enthusiasm that we would have otherwise witnessed in the constituency for the election. It clearly shows that all is not well in MPP right now.
And how did that inconsistent position of the party taking one position and then the candidate now going contrary to that, because per her own assessment, she says she's still strong on the ground, and that showed yesterday. How did that position by the party impact on her performance yesterday?
First, I think it would have affected overall turnout in the constituency, not just among MPP, but across every voter who was eligible to vote. Because some will say, oh, if they are not contesting, then it means there's no contest. I don't have to bother myself to go and vote. But if the contest was very keen and everybody was partaking, and then we would have seen a much slightly higher turnout, even though it would have still been lower, but a bit more than we saw yesterday. For MPP, maybe slightly lower turnout than among the NDC, because already there is hesitant on the part of MPP voters to go out and vote. And if they don't see that sense of unity and sense of purpose in the constituency, it tends to dampen further that kind of enthusiasm. So it really affected them somehow. But overall, I mean, it affected the entire constituency in terms of energy.
Energy. But did the chaotic scenes also impact on the voter turnout?
It will, certainly. I mean, that will affect everybody. There are people who don't want to go near violence, whether they are MPP, NDC, and floating voters. Remember, people who vote in constituency are not just MPP or NDC people. There are other people who vote, floating voters. Now they are about 20% of the voting population. And in particular, in Ablekuma North, we have about 30% MPP right now and 29% floating voters and 40% NDC. So there's a quite sizable number of people who will not go because of the violence.
But because you talk about voter turnout and the impact, it's instructive what we saw yesterday when it comes to the voter turnout. And we're going to put that on the screen. This is the registered eligible voter population in all the 19 polling stations in Ablekuma North that were contested yesterday. Article School Complex, Odoko, had a registered voter population of 645. I'm saying, only 206 registered voters came out to vote yesterday. 206 out of the 645. There was a similar situation in the Pentecost Church Mount Zion Assembly. Less than half. DVLA office as well recorded less than half. That's a DVLA office has 613 registered voters. Pentecost Church Mount Zion has 635. Then you have the Lost Pentecostal Church Kwashibu that also recorded under 200. Roman Catholic Church Buzia Junction Odoko 1, 538. We had just about 236 people. Then the Methodist Church Odoko, that's where our Kumsins incident happened. Methodist Church Odoko, that's the 6th most populous polling station out of the 19 yesterday. 464, and less than half of them came out to vote. I mean, taking this particular one into consideration, and then also how the party took this position going into this election yesterday, did the candidate have a good showing? I mean, this 209 margin of victory for Rabna Oben, without taking anything away from the NDC's victory yesterday, had won victory over the period. Did she have a good showing? That's Naneke Free, a former member of parliament for this constituency.
I will say no, based on the numbers we have seen. If you exclude the entire results of the constituency and focus on the numbers yesterday, you would notice that the MPP candidate won about 45% of the vote. Still, maybe some numbers need to be corrected, but NDC candidate won 55% of the vote.
Right.
So there was a 10-point margin on yesterday's count. Now, if you look at the areas the MPP won, they won about 6 places. And their average performance in those 6 areas is about 55%. Now, the highest percentage they score on the day was 62% in one of the polling stations, or no, 60%. But NDC in some areas were scoring 66% on the day.
On average.
Right? So if you average the areas the NDC won, they were averaging nearly 60%. And the areas the MPP won, they were averaging 55%. So Rabna Oben was doing far better on the day in terms of margins than the MPP's candidate. Now, if you look at the overall result, it shows that if the number had come out in number, the same we were expecting, the proportion wouldn't have changed.
Yeah. I see. Robin Albin would have still won.
Yes. Unless MPP people come out in vast majority than NDC. But we know now that since the election in Ablekuma, since the 2024 elections, the number of MPP voters in that constituency has shrunk to 30%.
30%?
30%. And NDC 40%. And you have 29% floating voters. So if the combined effect of NDC and floating voters would have still delivered NDC the victory.
I see, but this is a stronghold of the NPP. They've won this election since this constituency since 1996. Yeah. The margins unimaginable. In fact, the NDC, the closest they came until 2024 was about 38%, rounding up to about 39%. That was in 2012
by Ras Mubarak.
Let's put that on the screen. Yes, Ras Mubarak contested this constituency. This was the first constituency before he went to
Ablekuma West.
And then from Ablekuma West, he went to Kumbungu. So for Ras Mubarak, he has a very interesting history. Look at this. In the year 2000, we start from 2000, but in 1996 they won. 1992 they boycotted. But in 2000, they won with 63% roundup of the total value vote cast in Ablekuma North. 2004, 65%. There was an increase. And within this period, 2004, 2008, Kwame Bartels was the member of parliament for this constituency. Very key, strong figure in the NPP. We saw a dip in the performance of the party in 2008, and you can understand why. It was John Akuffo was going out of power. It was a new administration. This election went to second round. John Evans Atamels won. Then in 2012, you had a new candidate winning again with an increased margin of 59.7% of the valid vote cast in that election. Fast forward to 2016, that's when Nana Akua-Addo showed up. And look at her performance. Nana Akua-Addo recorded, in terms of percentage, the highest performance of the MPP in 2016, with over 54,000 of the in nominal value terms, 54,000 and over of the valid vote cast in Ablekuma North. 66.8%.
We and some of the team calls watching on us, so Mamma was a Saudi Ewa. The sun is over the India Domain, only in Shimmy, not in San Enfadi cheesing and San Sumo. But I say, Saudi Ewa say, AGH politics, avenue.